Look around you. Look at the people on the subway, in the coffee shops, perhaps even look in the mirror. What do you see? You see heads bowed, eyes glazed over, illuminated by the pale blue light of a rectangle that they hold in their hands like a lifeline. We are living in the age of the modern zombie. We are not eating brains, we are outsourcing them. We have become a civilization of addicts, hooked not on substances, but on the cheap digital dopamine that floods our systems every time we scroll, swipe, or tap. You sit down to work, to build your empire, to study for that degree that will change your life. Within 30 seconds, your hand moves automatically. It's a reflex. You unlock the phone, you check the notification, you fall into the abyss. An hour passes. You emerge from the trance foggy, anxious, and defeated. You ask yourself, why can't I just focus? You think you lack motivation. You think you're lazy. But you are wrong. You are not lazy. You are hacked. Your mind is currently operating on an infected operating system. The most brilliant engineers in Silicon Valley, backed by billions of dollars and sophisticated artificial intelligence, are working around the clock with one singular goal: to steal your attention. They are fighting a war for your mind, and right now they are winning. But what if you could take back root access to your own brain? What if you could install a firewall so robust that no distraction could penetrate it? Imagine possessing the ability to command your mind to be silent, and it actually listens. Imagine telling your brain to lock onto a target like a laser, like a guided missile system, ignoring the chaos of the world around you until the mission is complete. This is not science fiction. This is not a superpower reserved for the genetic elite. This is a lost art, a tactical protocol that combines ancient wisdom with cutting-edge neuroscience. Today, we are not just talking about concentration. We are talking about reclaiming your sovereignty. We are going to decode the 5 protocols to rewiring your neural pathways, turning your mind from a chaotic browser with 100 open tabs into a supercomputer dedicated to your success. The war for your attention is raging. It's time to pick up your weapon. Let's begin by addressing the immediate threat. The glitch in the system. You know the feeling. You are in the middle of a high-stakes project, or perhaps you are trying to have a meaningful conversation with a loved one. Or maybe you are just trying to sleep. Suddenly, an intruder enters. A thought. It could be an embarrassing memory from 5 years ago. It could be a sudden spike of anxiety about a bill you need to pay. It could be a phantom argument with a coworker that hasn't even happened yet. This thought grabs the steering wheel of your consciousness and yanks it into the ditch. You try to fight it, but the more you wrestle with the thought, the stronger it gets. This brings us to the first and most critical protocol, the kill switch. In the ancient texts, this was known as Vichar-Vichadan, or the severance of thought. In modern psychology, we call this pattern interruption or cognitive diffusion. But for the sake of your mental warfare, think of it as a kill switch. Most people believe that they are their thoughts. This is the fundamental error. You are not the voice in your head, you are the one listening to it. When a rogue thought enters your mind, let's say the urge to check social media or a spiral of self, your brain begins to fire a specific sequence of neurons. It's like water flowing downhill, it follows the path of least resistance. Every time you indulge that negative thought, You dig that trench a little deeper, making it easier for the water to flow that way next time. To stop this, you cannot be passive. You must be aggressive. The moment the intruder appears, you must verbally or mentally shout a command code. Stop. Cut. Reset. It sounds almost too simple to be effective, but here is the neuroscience behind why it works. When you issue a sharp, decisive command to yourself, you are engaging the prefrontal cortex, the CO of your brain, the part responsible for logic and planning. This creates a momentary spike in executive function that overrides the amygdala, the primitive part of your brain that runs on fear and habit. It acts as a circuit breaker. You are literally interrupting the electrical signal before it can complete the loop. But you cannot just say stop and leave a vacuum. The brain abhors a vacuum. If you create empty space, the negative thought will rush back in. You must immediately redirect that energy. This is the pivot. Say stop and physically move your body. Stand up, drink a glass of water, do 5 push-ups. By engaging your physiology, you force your brain to switch gears from dwelling to doing. Imagine your mind is a boardroom. You are the CEO. These intrusive thoughts are just noisy, incompetent interns shouting bad ideas. If you sit there and argue with them, you validate them. You give them a seat at the table. The kill switch is you, the CEO pointing at the door and saying, "You, out, now." It will feel mechanical at first. It might feel fake. But remember, we are rewriting code here. If you do this times a day, interrupting the loop and redirecting your focus, you are physically altering the structure of your brain through neuroplasticity. You are letting the old, weeds-covered pathways of distraction die off, and you are paving a new highway of focus. This is active combat. You must stand guard at the doors of your perception. Do not let the enemy in. Now that we have a defensive strategy for the immediate attacks, we need to talk about the operating environment. You cannot run high performance software on hardware that is overheating and glitching. This leads us to the second protocol, the biological reset. You might have heard gurus talk about waking up at 4, calling it the Brahma Muhurta or the hour of the Creator. While the spiritual connotation is beautiful, the biological reality is undeniable. We need to talk about your circadian rhythm and the cortisol awakening response. In the modern world, we live in opposition to our biology. We stay up late bathing in blue light, suppressing our melatonin, and we wake up to the blaring alarm of a smartphone, immediately injecting high stress information into our brains before our feet even hit the floor. This morning routine is a recipe for mental castration. When you wake up between 4 other alarm and 6 Trusurodidam, the world is in a state of suspension. There are no emails. There are no notifications. The collective consciousness of your city is asleep. This silence is not just acoustic, it is electromagnetic and psychological. But more importantly, your body is primed for a state change. During these pre-dawn hours, your brain chemistry is unique. Your pineal gland is tapering off melatonin production, and your body is preparing a natural surge of cortisol, not the bad stress cortisol, but the get up and go energy cortisol. If you align your waking time with this natural biological wave, you are surfing the tide rather than swimming against it. However, waking up is only half the equation. The modern mind is starving for oxygen. We are a generation of shallow breathers. When you are stressed, scrolling through your feed, your breath becomes short. rapid, and located in the upper chest. This signals your autonomic nervous system to stay in fight or flight mode. You are constantly telling your body that a tiger is chasing you. So your brain shuts down the higher cognitive functions required for deep focus and creativity. Why would you need to write a symphony or code an app if you are about to be eaten? To hack this, we integrate the ancient practice of pranayama, which we will call the oxygen protocol. This is not about sitting in a cave. This is about regulating your blood chemistry. By spending just 10 minutes in the morning practicing deep, rhythmic diaphragmatic breathing, like the box breathing technique used by Navy SEALs, you are manually switching your nervous system from sympathetic stress to parasympathetic, rest and digest. You are stimulating the vagus nerve. You are flooding your brain with oxygen. This combination, waking during the biological golden hour and super oxygenating your blood, creates an impenetrable fortress of calm. When you sit down to work after this protocol, you are not fighting your body. You are a pilot in a cockpit, all systems green, fuel tanks full, ready for takeoff. You have established a baseline of dominance before the rest of the world has even opened its eyes. But what happens when you achieve this calm and you are ready to focus, but the task feels overwhelming? The mind loves to complicate things. It loves to create noise. This brings us to the third protocol, the void. In a world that glorifies hustle and constant input, we have forgotten the power of zero. We are terrified of boredom. If we have 3 seconds in an elevator, we pull out the phone. If we are waiting in line, we pull out the phone. We have destroyed our capacity for solitude, which is distinct from loneliness. Solitude is the state where the mind processes, organizes, and heals. By constantly jamming information into our eyes and ears, we never give our brains the downtime required to consolidate memory or generate insight. The void is the practice of intentional nothingness. It is the modern adaptation of Bodh Shunyata. It is the ability to sit with yourself without external stimulation and observe the chaos without participating in it. Neuroscience tells us about the default mode network DOPAMine, a network of interacting brain regions that is active when a person is not focused on the outside world. An overactive DOPAMine is linked to anxiety, depression, and obsessive rumination. It is the monkey mind swinging from branch to branch. To deactivate the DOPAMine and enter a state of high focus, or flow, we must practice entering the void. This protocol requires you to carve out a window of time, perhaps just 15 minutes, where you do absolutely nothing. You do not meditate with a guided app. You do not listen to lo-fi beats. You sit, you close your eyes, and you watch. At first, it will be excruciating. Your brain will scream for dopamine. It will throw tantrums. It will remind you of your to-do list. It will make your nose itch. This is the withdrawal symptom of a dopamine addict. But if you hold the line, if you stay in the chair, something miraculous happens. The sediment settles. The muddy water becomes clear. The frantic urgency of your thoughts begins to dissolve, revealing a backdrop of vast, silent awareness. This is not just relaxing. This is training your attention span. You are building the muscle of meta. Cognition, the ability to think about your thinking. When you emerge from the void, you carry that silence with you. You become less reactive. When a crisis happens at work, you don't panic, you observe. When someone insults you, you don't lash out, you analyze. You become the eye of the storm. The chaos spins around you, but you remain untouched, centered, and dangerously focused. This ability to detach is what separates the amateur from the master. The amateur reacts to everything, the master responds only to what matters. By embracing the void, you are not emptying your mind to be nothing. You are emptying it to make space for greatness. Now, we have the defense kill switch, the physiological base biological reset, and the mental clarity, the void. But we need a driving force. We need a navigation system. Why do we fail to stick to our plans? Why do we make a schedule and then ignore it? It is because we lack integrity. This brings us to the fourth protocol, the integrity protocol. In the yogic traditions, this is called sankalpa, a solemn vow, a resolution that cannot be broken. In the West, we treat our word like it is cheap currency. We tell ourselves, I will work out tomorrow, and then we done, we say. I want to eat that sugar, and then we do. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you are training your brain that you are a liar. You are eroding your self-confidence at a neurological level. Your brain listens to what you say, watches what you do, and realizes there is a mismatch. This creates a state of internal conflict. You stop believing in your own authority. If you can trust yourself to wake up when your alarm goes off, how can you trust yourself to build a business or lead a family? The integrity protocol is the process of rebuilding this trust, one micro commitment at a time. You do not start by vowing to change your entire life overnight. That is a trap. You start with a micro sankalpa, a small, non-negotiable contract. For example, for the next 7 days, I will not look at my phone until I have brushed my teeth. That's it. It seems trivial, but the stakes are infinite. If you say you will do it, you must do it. If the building is on fire, you brush your teeth before you check your phone. Why? Because you are rewriting your identity. You are proving to your subconscious that when you issue a command, reality shifts to accommodate it. When you successfully complete a 7-day integrity protocol, your brain releases a steady stream of dopamine and serotonin. It says, we are competent. We are reliable. This is the winner effect. Success breeds success. Once you master the phone habit, you escalate. I will read 20 pages every day. Then, I will deep work for 2 hours. Step by step, you are forging a will of iron. You are becoming a person of your word. This is the ultimate form of mind control, where your intention and your action are perfectly aligned. There is no lag time. There is no hesitation. There is only the decision and the execution. Let's synthesize this into a unified theory of operation. You are currently piloting a biological machine that has been hijacked by an environment it was not designed for. The external world is designed to fragment your attention, to keep you weak, distracted, and dependent on external validation. The modern zombie is the default state of humanity in the 21st century. But you have chosen a different path. You have chosen to go root access. You will employ the kill switch to mercilessly cut the neural pathways of negativity and distraction, like the ruthless EOs of your own mind. You will undergo the biological reset, aligning your waking hours with the rhythm of the planet and fueling your nervous system with oxygen. Becoming the pilot who flies above the storm. You will embrace the void, finding power in silence and deactivating the networks that keep you anxious and small. And you will execute the integrity protocol, rebuilding yourself, trust brick by brick until your will is an unstoppable force of nature. This is not a self-help video. This is a declaration of independence. The tools are in your hands. The science is on your side. The ancient wisdom has paved the way. But the execution, that is entirely up to you. The war for your mind is being fought right now, in this very second. As this video ends, the algorithm will try to pull you to the next distraction. The notification will ding. The urge to scroll will rise. That is the enemy. That is the test. Will you be the zombie, wandering aimlessly through a digital wasteland? Or will you be the master, sharp, focused, and free? The choice is yours. But remember, a mind that is not controlled by its master is eventually controlled by its slave. Don't let your tools become your tyrant. Wake up. Reset. Focus. Your new life begins the moment you decide to take the controls. Consider this deeply. What if the version of you that you dream of, the successful, fit, calm, wealthy version is simply waiting for you to clear the static? That version of you already exists, buried under layers of digital noise and broken promises. To excavate that person, you must be willing to do what 99% of people will not do. You must be willing to sit in silence when others seek noise. You must be willing to wake when others sleep. You must be willing to say no to the impulses that feel good in the moment, to say yes to the glory that awaits in the future. This journey is not linear. You will fail. You will slip. The zombie brain will try to claw its way back. That is natural. But now, you have the protocols. When you fall, you spiral, you reset. You use the kill switch. You breathe. You begin again. This resilience is the hallmark of the elite mind. The goal is not perfection, the goal is relentless, conscious direction. So, here is your mission, should you choose to accept it. Do not just close this video and move on. Select one protocol, just one. Maybe it's the morning silence. Maybe it's the thought stopping. Commit to it for just 24 hours. Test the hypothesis. Be the scientist of your own existence. Because once you taste true control, once you feel the raw power of a mind that bends to your will, you will never want to go back to being a passenger. You are the driver. You are the architect. You are the master. Drive.